Welcome to Behind the Backline, the podcast where we chat with merchants, brands, and industry professionals in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space about their products, services, industry trends, stories, and more. Join us now as we dig into the stories behind our favorite backline gear.
Welcome to episode 22 of Behind the Backline. I'm Matt Jacoby of Octave Media, and today I am talking with Brian LaRue of Dream Cymbals and Gongs. Thanks for joining me today, Brian.
Well, it's my pleasure, Matt. Great talking to you, sir.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, it was a great LinkedIn connection.
Exactly. It's good for something. It was originally the only social media platform I ever used.
So let's start off by having you share with your listeners about a little bit who you are.
Well, like you said, my name's Brian LaRue. I'm probably one of the longest standing employees of Dream Cymbals and Gongs outside of Andy Morse, the owner. I've been here since actually technically before the beginning almost. Originally, when Dream came about, we had a sister company called Mountain Rhythm that was doing distribution and stuff as the company kind of grew. And, we separated from them in early 2008. I was working for them as a sales rep at the time. And when we did, it was just before PASIC that year. And Andy asked if I was, interested in the full-time gig with the company. And it was kind of like, it was, at that point for me, it was a no-brainer. And it's, yeah, sure. Love the brand. Really got along with him as a person and, really liked the product. So at that point we started, and I officially met Andy for the first time that year at PASIC. So we'd worked together for about 6 or 7 months before we actually even met. And then we met at PASIC, did a handful of things, got along great. And then I guess, as you would say, the rest is sort of history from that point. I started taking on the U.S. operations originally when we formed the company in that regard, from separating from Mountain Rhythm. Andy dealt with most of the bookkeeping, the ordering, product design, and that kind of stuff. I was the guy on the ground calling dealers and trying to get us into stores for what it's worth. I mean, and just kind of, we've kept it together and built it from there. And every day's a new day, and just kind of keep going.
That's very cool. So how big is Dream then at this point, like employee-wise? Or
employee-wise, we've got probably about 7 employees, all of us with different kind of aspects of the job. Like I said, originally when we started, it was just Andy and I. Craig Snowden was the kind of third one to come in, and he kind of at that point was dealing with warehouse stuff a little bit, but also just kind of doing behind-the-scenes stuff as a Canadian product specialist and helping Andy out and stuff like that. And then as we've needed people, we've brought them in. Julia, who is she's our fantastic, wonderful office person. She does everything that none of us can figure out how to do. She does calls people about billing. She makes sure Andy does his job. She makes sure we all do our jobs, and she kind of keeps us all in check. There's Ed Squires, who is our social media guru, who came on probably about 3 or 4 years ago. There's Ray Dillard, who is kind of a creative guy within the company. He helps a little bit with product stuff, a little bit with catalog stuff, a little bit with the website stuff. And you just, when somebody doesn't know how to do something, you go to Ray, and Ray kind of figures it out, or Ray figures out who knows how to do it, and just that person. There's Kent Aberley, who came on about a year and a half, probably about a year and a half ago. He's also one of the U.S. product guys with me. Deals with different territories and going to and from the stores, kind of help them set people up, learn a little bit more about the brand, and so it's small. Like I said, there's only a handful of us here that get the job done, but so we all wear a lot of hats, but it's good. Good small team. We all communicate regularly with each other, so we've been able to accomplish a lot with very little behind the scenes work. Few people doing behind the scenes work, making it happen.
Okay. Well, that's good. That means you're efficient, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, we have to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's where Julia comes in, because when we're not, she kicks us all and get her crap together, for lack of a better way to put it.
That's what office managers do, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So is it mainly a U.S. and Canadian territory brand right now, or is it how big is the reach right now?
We as a company started out mostly, as a Canadian company, we started out mostly as far as building the brand in the U.S. The U.S. tends to drive the market as far as desire and want. So we had gotten the U.S. to a pretty substantial dealer base. We had about 100 dealers on board who were actually actively stocking this stuff. We were creating programs like the Cymbal Pasting Tour to help build visibility within for the company within the different stores. We started the recycling program, and we were doing a lot of just straight up print advertising. Unlike a lot of smaller cymbal companies or drum companies or otherwise just like the ones that are trying to get their brand out there, we focused really, really hard on print marketing and in-store promotions and stuff like that. So we were spending most of our money there, which did great for visibility. We're running full page ads in Modern Drummer, Drumhead, a couple other ones too at the time, and Music Trades, of course, for the industry stuff, MMR. And it just slowly picked up. And then we really started focusing back on Canada, got Long and McQuaid on board, Steve's Music in Montreal, started picking up those guys. And then as the company built on the North America, we branched out a little bit more. At that point, we had people in the company who were based in Europe, and they were kind of working in building that area up as well. It was a little bit slower to pick up. But right now, I think we're probably distributed in 16, 17 countries around the world. We were doing at one point print marketing in 8 different languages. Some of it we were handling here in the US, which is where most of the advertising was based out of at the time. And then other distributors were taking it on and doing it on their own right within their own market. So the stuff was focused for the people who are buying the cymbals there. I would say beyond the US and Canada, the UK is probably our next biggest market, just based on size and, again, visibility and how it's grown. But it's picking up pretty much around the world. And as the brand has gained visibility and marketplace everywhere, I mean, it's just we keep picking everybody off one at a time and adding in new distributors every year, and everybody gets a little bit more excited about the brand, the possibilities, and like I said, there's certain aspects as far as price and margins, which make everybody a little bit more excited because you're able to make a little bit more money on it. So it's we've done really well. It's in the short amount of time that we've been around. Like I said, the company really kind of formed around 2008 as far as really driving towards Dream. In that time frame, 10 years, we just actually celebrated our 10th anniversary at NAMM this past year. And in that 10 years, man, we've really cut our path through the world. And we're just, 10 years in, who knows where we're going to be in 20, let alone 30 or 40. And just, so it's good. We got a lot of coverage right now and just constantly looking for more.
That's awesome, especially in such a short amount of time frame and with such a lean team to be that far along already. That's pretty good, especially for what you guys are doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think you touched on this a little bit, but what was and I think you also told me about it before we started recording as well, was what's kind of the inspiration or what lit the spark to get Dream going off of where you started, or after branching off of Mountain? Well,
I mean, there was a few different things. Originally, when the company was started, it was basically kind of almost a pet project for Andy. He and one of our old business partners were professional players, and they were touring Europe and touring Asia and stuff like that with orchestras and symphonies and doing different gigs and stuff like that. And I found a little cymbal shop, gong shop, I should say, at the time, and got them to make some instruments for them. And within the confinements of that, kind of the Bliss line came around, and so that was the first really focused on Bliss, and that was done under, like I said, Mountain. And then as time progressed, we found that there were limitations in how that relationship could work, trying to focus on our own brand because they had their own brand as well. And we really wanted to focus on what we were doing. So when we separated, the goal at that point, rather than a lot of boutique brands where, it's like, okay, cool, we want to be this neat little niche-y product that, it's like cool here, cool there, and you get a lot of your Turkish companies that are like that. There's other, smaller cymbal companies and smaller drum companies, they usually use guys like, you get CNC, who's kind of done the same thing where they were a small boutique brand that kind of went a little bit more mainstream. Same with SJC and, a couple of those other ones. I mean, we did that, instead of just focusing on being this little niche product, we really tried to go after the bigger contenders. I've always said, just like, it's small guys aren't our competition. I want to be where Zildjian's at. I want to be where Sabian's at, and that's kind of always where we streamed our marketing and streamed our goals. It was, do we want to have 10 guys that are selling the cymbals that are just focusing on selling, just a cool product, or do we want to have a product that's got a mass appeal to not just music stores, but to players, to studios, to educators? And, like I said, it's that kind of geared how we did our marketing and how we did our advertising and how we did simple things like that people don't look at on the surface, and most people, like, when you think about that, it's like, okay, well, this is how they got there. Our price points and our margins for dealers were really some of the biggest driving factors, because where we didn't have, the cool factor, yes, we were advertising, we were pushing to build the brand. We weren't just, it wasn't just, hey, we're cool cymbals, or hey, we're cheap cymbals. We were pushing the fact that we're a quality cymbal, and the people that make the stuff are making them by hand, regardless of region of where they're made. It just happens that within that confinements of that, we're able to keep pricing down. So it became an option for dealers who are looking for something that could sell less expensive than our competitors, still with a higher quality as some of the entry level stuff that they were selling, because throughout the history of the company, every product has always been a B20 cymbal and some derivative thereof. So it's all high-end quality metal, all high-end quality cymbals. It's just at a third of the price, we were able to find our marketplace. And like I said, rather than focusing on just being this cool little niche, we pushed the brand saying, we're a high quality product that happens to be affordable, and we're really easy to work with. And if we're not doing something that you need, tell us what that is. And because we're small, because we're adaptable, we can try and work that into the equation. And that's really been where we've found success. I mean, it's been, not trying to pigeonhole ourselves, but trying to find ways to do more for people and be more for people so that they can sell our product, grow with our product, really feel comfortable about promoting the product, and knowing that the company itself is going to stand behind what they're doing and what they're doing for us.
Mm-hmm. So do you think being a low cost premium brand is kind of the thing that makes Dream unique, or is there other areas that make it stand out from the other brands?
I think initially where the attraction came onto it was with a lot of people is where you could take like a Bliss 16-inch crash and sit against another company's 16-inch crash in, of similar quality, similar shape, similar, lathing process, that kind of thing. And you could hit one, then you hit the Dream, and it's like, wow, it's a good sounding cymbal. You hit the other one, and it's like, that's equally a good sounding cymbal. That one's 250, that one's 100. And it's like, okay, well, that makes it a little bit harder, makes it a little bit easier of a decision, and you kind of lean towards that one a little bit. But then when, like I said, from the dealer perspective, it's like, okay, well, you're making X on that one, but you're also making double it on that one. So, it's the price thing was always, in the early stages, yes, it was a key factor in building it. But as we've grown, I mean, yeah, we get to be the inexpensive brand, but I mean, the stuff's super high quality. So it's, we get engineers who, they'll hand you a bag of cymbals and, half of it's Dream because it's easy on the mic. They don't have to engineer it. They don't have to EQ it. They don't have to process it to get it to sound good. So what originally started as, yes, we were a budget cymbal company that just happened to be made of really nice materials. We've now come into the fact that, we're this cool eco-friendly company that's doing, stuff for the environment, but also trying to make cymbals that musicians want to play, they can afford to play, and that they can feel comfortable being a part of, because we're not like everybody else. We're not like, our other competitors out there where, it's like if you call into the company, you're going to get some guy behind the desk who may or may not be a drummer, may or may not know anything about the product. When you call Dream or when you interact with us, you get somebody who's A, playing the product for one, B, who knows the product inside and out, C, cares about our customers, because, we treat everybody like family, because as a small company, we are family. Andy's, my brother, Craig's my brother, Ed's my brother, Julia's my sister, it's like, and we're like that to each other. So that's how we treat everybody. Our artists are family to us. Our customers are family to us. We have appreciation for the fact that, they play the product, they trust us, and we try to deliver the best thing that we can for them. And, I mean, it's worked really well for us. I mean, we've built an identity and like a culture around a product that, is just kind of continuously expanding. So it went from being this budget thing to being, this cool little community of people that are supporting, I like to say supporting the underdog, but, that's kind of the way it was growing. But, now it's just, we're part of the top 3, top 5 cymbal companies in the US, and we're there simply because of the people that are playing the brand. Yes, we've done a lot of work, but there's not one single thing that any of us have done or do on a daily basis that gets us there. It's our customers, our artists, the studios that are using the stuff, the educators that are out there pushing their students to play the stuff because, well, they can afford it. It sounds good, and they can believe in it because we stand behind it.
And that is all the qualities that a lot of people love in a cymbal company, a drum company, guitar company, anybody.
Yeah, any manufacturer. It's not unique to us. I mean, it could be the same for any manufacturer out there, regardless of product. It's just treating people well, having respect for what you're doing, or your products, and putting it out there as such. Very cool.
So, just kind of wondering, do you guys like publish the list of heavy hitters, or you said your artists or your family? Do you have some of the people that some of our listeners might actually know who's playing a dream cymbal?
Well, there's I probably got the wrong guy for that one, unfortunately, because I deal with everybody. I don't know. I mean, it depends on a lot of it depends on the genre. We've got guys across the board. I mean, like educators are really hot, up there. Like Gordon Stout was one of our first guys on as far as really in the mainstream education realm, as far as like college educators that were really, profoundly well known. I mean, and he made a lot of inroads for us with that crowd. I mean, we've got guys like Greg Ritchie, who plays for the Gaither Brothers in the gospel scene. Those are super, super big cats. And, it kind of continues through. I mean, we've got, I love to say I can name every one of our artists, as far as top end guys to low end guys, but I'll be honest with you, we don't really look at them like that. I mean, some of them may have higher visibility than others, but to us, it's still the same guy calling in that, they may have a higher visibility on the radio now. They may have, maybe out on MTV or whatever. I mean, it's, but at the end of the day, because of how I deal with them and the capacity that I deal with them with, they're honestly, to me, a lot of them are just dudes. I don't even think about it in the sense of what their visibility is in the outward market. We do have a lot of guys who are well and out there. You can go onto the website and check our artist roster, and you see all the names of the guys But I encourage you to check, if you do that, check out the guys you don't know. That are honestly just as important to our roster as the guys who are touring 365 days a year. The guys who are teaching 120 students at their local high school are equally as important to us as far as at the end of the day when we're dealing with them.
And that's a great plug for the little guy, because little guys are always tomorrow's big guys. So treat them all well. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I wish I could go through and it's like, oh yeah, these are, this is our Weckel, this is our Pert, these are these guys.
Yeah.
And it's great to have those guys on the roster. I mean, honestly, for every guy that we have like that, while they're, just as much loved, we don't love the little guys anymore.
And I've already talked to a couple of drum companies that are in the same boat with you, and it's usually the younger companies that don't have the huge history or the corporate backing or anything, where they're very young yet, and they're doing the right thing, the human thing, and treating their artists no differently across the board. The guy in the basement gets the same placement on their website as like you said, Pert.
Yep.
It's a very nice feeling of being able to have equal treatment across that, and everyone represents you in some way at a different level. So
that's it. I mean, even down to discounting, and it's everybody asks like, oh, well, who gets free stuff? Well, I mean, really, most people within our realm, it's like, yeah, if you guys may get a placement here or there, but everybody's, for the most part, most of our artists pay the same artist price that every other artist pays. And it's it's straight across the board kind of thing. I mean, it's, if somebody gets a placement piece, or somebody gets a freebie, then most of the time it's because we just were like, okay, cool, you did something neat here.
Yeah.
Hey, you earned this, right? Cool, thanks.
So, in terms of people who haven't purchased yet, what kind of places can you or who carries Dream Cymbals out on the retail line?
We've got dealers across the country. Right now, I think there's probably about 250-ish plus and growing. We actually just picked up KMC as a distributor for the U.S. market for Dream. So that's going to vastly expand the reach and availability of the product across the U.S. And different parts of North America as it grows for that. It makes it into Canada that way. Some of our bigger guys, we got Arizona Drum Shop down in the Phoenix area. We've got Chicago Music up in Chicago, Illinois. We've got Lone Star Percussion down in Dallas. Casio Interstate Music. Guys at Steve Maxwell's, Forks Drum Closets, which is now owned by Steve Maxwell. Atlanta ATL Drum Shop, which is in Atlanta. So we've got some major heavy players that do a lot of internet outreach. I encourage people to go to reverb.com because we've got a lot of our smaller guys that may not have the big super web presence or the super huge stores or the major financial backing that puts stuff on Reverb. So you can find your local guys there. And I find Reverb to be an interesting outlet for a lot of players and a lot of retailers actually, because it's an open marketplace that kind of almost levels the playing field. You have just as much chance for a mom and pop shop in Toledo, Ohio to make a sale as you do like a monolith like Chicago Music. The availability is still there. The price is still the same because we do follow MAP. We do have a MAP policy and a MAP pricing, it's in place. It's a good avenue. We don't do a lot with catalogs. We don't do a lot with with like the big box stores or anything like that. We don't do GC. We don't do Sam Ash. Amazon. If you're buying from Amazon, you're buying from an independent music store, and that's just the way it is. We've always really focused on the brick and mortars around the U.S. and really want to drive our business to those guys. So while we do have our bigger major dealers who, yes, have some of the most visible presence out there in the marketplace, you'd be surprised how many of your local little drum shops actually have the product in there and are giving us just as much love. So like I said, check out Reverb, check out the website if you're looking for a local guy, or feel free at any point, call in. It's 877-933-7629. I'm extension 1. Or if you just don't remember 1, I'm also the operator. So I'm the easiest guy in the company to reach. Second command as it would go, and I am still cleaning the floors, sweeping the floors, cleaning the toilets, and I am your operator.
The director of operations and operator and janitorial.
Exactly. Exactly. That's totally it. Yeah.
Cool. But you had mentioned earlier that Andy, has the orchestra background, and you're kind of in the I believe drum set side.
Yep.
So do you guys have any particular heavier hitting market, like orchestral versus stage band kind of thing, or?
It's a pretty interesting dynamic within the company. We as a company have the largest selection of gongs of almost anybody. We do the fangs, which are the wind gongs traditionally. We do the chows, which also people know as black dots. We also do mbows, which are nipple gongs, which are more melodically tuned, so you can use them for orchestra and things like that. Mostly used for like gamelan and stuff, melodic pieces and tune specific pieces, because a lot of those instruments actually get played more like you would a mallet instrument, like a marimba or a xylophone, where you have octaves and scales set up and you're playing them either flat on the surface, or if you are elevating them, you're still playing them in that kind of set. So when I say that we have the largest selection, we're also one of the only companies that I know of that actually, when you order a set of mbows, they're actually hand tuned before they leave the building. And we offer that service throughout the life of the instrument. And as I often jokingly say, through the life of Andy, because he does most of the work on tuning them. But yeah, so it's a full service as far as the gongs go. We do a lot with orchestral stuff as far as hand cymbals, susses and things like that. We actually have a completely separate orchestral catalog. We hand make all of our own bell plates, things like that. So the orchestral side is a very, very heavy influence in what we do. And like I said, it's probably one of the main key factors in where we came from as a company, because the gong side of it is really where it drove Andy into that little tiny factory. However, on the flip side of that, where we've gained the most momentum has been the drum set market. The jazz guys, the rock guys, the metal guys, the gospel guys, the guys who are banging it out in their basement or in their garage. That's been really the bread and butter of it. But I'll be honest in saying, do we focus on one versus the other? It's not so much. It's a pretty even spread. All of the guys in Canada who work for the company are all orchestral players, whether they do play drum set or not. They're all union guys. You put a piece of sheet music in front of them. They'll be able to sight read it for you, backwards, forwards, sideways, doesn't really matter. And that's really their world up there. Whereas you get guys like Kent and I who, despite training, people we studied with, where we've taken lessons, we've played in high school band or any of that stuff, we're what I always jokingly call the drum set guys, because, it's for somebody to say that, oh, well, you're a percussionist. I flat out am not a percussionist, and it would be an insult to any of the percussionists to have that set, because if you put me in front of a marimba, I'm going to look at it and you may get me to play chopsticks. That's about it. Same thing with Kent for that matter, you give us a national number chart and we're good to go. Perfectly fine. To sheet music, especially me, because I'm dyslexic, it's going to be like, okay, cool. Thanks. What do you want me to do with that? And I'll hand it back. So, no, there's no focus one side versus the other. And within our growth capacity, where drum set really got us there, it's given us the ability to then go back and do more for the orchestral side and bring it up to the same par as what the cymbals are. Because within orchestral stuff, there's still drum set cymbals being used. The susses that we typically sell for guys who want to use them are vintage 17s and 19s. So the same stuff you would use on a drum set.
Okay.
It's across the board. Everything's kind of, it's started one way and is kind of geared towards the other. And now I can honestly say it's probably a straight across the even playing field as far as it goes, with half the company being more focused on one, the other half of the company being more focused on the other.
And as long as we hit things, we are all just drummers, not percussionists. I don't know what, it depends, there's no discrimination against anybody, of course.
Exactly. No, I make the joke because, it's, as I said, it's like I did school band. I had to learn to read marimba music. I had to learn to figure out bass drum parts and snare drum parts and things like that. But I can honestly say, 30 years later that, while I could probably still get away with it, I'm safer behind a drum set. And, it's like Craig can play a drum set sideways, backwards, and forwards, but he can also show up, tons of people on a set of timpani, anything else.
No, I hear you. I went to a small school, so in most cases, I was the drum section. So it would be timpani, marimba, drum set, jazz band, concert band, quads, marching band, you name it. I was in it because I didn't have a choice.
That's it. Exactly.
I got my share of it, but anyway. Well, cool. Well, before we sign off, I wanted to have you plug the website and any of your social platforms so we can have some people check you out online.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're on Facebook at dreamcymbals.com. I think Twitter is basically the same thing. Ed's all over Snapchat. If you can't find him on there, and Instagram as well. If you can't find him on there, hit him up on Facebook. He'll tell you where to find us. The website is www.dreamcymbals.com. We've got links to our artist roster, links to our dealer list, as far as you can find people across the country as far as where to buy cymbals. And like I said, if you got any questions, I'm the easiest guy in the company to find. If you dial in through the 877 number, I'm extension 1 directly, or extension 0, which is operator. You can also email us at info@dreamcymbals.com. If you want to reach out to any of us personally, it's most of the time our name, in my case, Brian, Brian, at dreamcymbals.com. Andy, same thing. Reach out to us, ask us questions. We're a really touchy-feely company. We like to talk to our customers. We like to get to know people. And as I said earlier, you call in, and it's like, when you call in or reach out to us, don't think of yourself as just an end user or a guy looking for info on a cymbal. We'll treat you like family. We'll answer your questions, direct you in the right, to the right dealer, the right product. If there's, you need warranty, you want to find out about our fantastic recycling program, which is probably the only one in the industry where you can actually trade in broken cymbals of any brand towards a credit for the purchase of dream product. So it's, we got that going on as far as, helping out the environment and helping out drummers' wallets. But all the information is available on the website. Like I said, if you can't find it there, reach out personally, please.
Awesome. Well, I do have I believe what used to be an 8-inch splash, which is now a 2 or a 3 after it followed a line all the way around. So I might have to take you up on that.
Send it in. We take anything with the recycling program. It's kind of fun. Anything that's got a certain usage size or larger, we may turn it into crop circles or the ReFX bells and things like that, or the naughty saucers. But the rest of the stuff gets melted down, and either turn it into another cymbal product that's dream related, not like our Crashes or the Bliss or the Energy or the Vintage or any of that stuff, but like, maybe Hollies or some of the weirder effects, RE effects percussion stuff, which RE effects actually stands for recycled effects products. But yeah, we take anything. It doesn't matter if it's a half a cymbal, if it's a full cymbal. It doesn't matter if it's brand A, brand Z, brand S, brand W. We don't really care. We'll take it as long as it's a B8 alloy or better. The only thing we don't take is brass. And the only reason that is because it's just basically useless.
Good to know. I got it. Well, awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate you joining me again today, and this has been fun. So thank you.
Thanks, Matt, for having me on here, man. It's been great chatting with you, bro.
Thank you for listening to Behind the Backline, brought to you by Octave Media, an inbound marketing agency focused on helping music merchants develop an automated solution to increase website sales. You can find Octave Media at www.octave.media. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast in iTunes or Google Play Music to learn more about great products and companies in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space, and be sure to leave a review to let us know what you thought of this episode. We encourage you to share us with your friends and colleagues via social media, and we'll see you next time. Take care.